Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another special edition of Heroes Peak Podcast, as we call it here, Quick Peaks. Since Chris is not with us today, it's going to be very quick. I am your favorite, yours truly, James here, and I've got a special guest as well on a special podcast. Sandra, what's going on?
Second appearance. Thank you for having me on.
And the grumpy old man, Mike. Mike in the northern, above the wall, north of the wall. How's it going up there in Canada?
Not too bad. Just to let you know, I am 25% more expensive today due to tariffs. So,
Yikes.
Well, there's that. But you'll still probably be happier and a little less
oh,
triggered,
for sure.
like we are. I'll take that
Yo,
25%.
speaking of
any day.
triggered, let's talk about the show Paradise, which happens to be a political
Right.
thriller, an
There.
American political thriller, not a Canadian one.
Very
I
much.
call it sci-fi, man. I don't think it's sci-fi to me.
Right.
Nah,
I don't
it's
know.
not sci-fi. It's as much sci-fi as
Come on,
Wall Street
climate change.
sci-fi.
We know it's sci-fi. It's a hoax.
Science
People are saying. Many people are saying.
Science fiction. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but you know what? Where there's a good argument for the sci-fi, believe it or not, a lot of these post-apocalyptic shows are based on what it's gonna be like if the world ends, and whether or not you have spaceships or not. There's a level of science fiction in being able to build a whole city underground. So I think it's not a bad argument, Mike. To be
Sandra,
honest, I think when you think of it that way, it's not a bad argument.
Sandra,
So do we call it political science then?
You know, Planet of the Apes.
political
Yeah,
political
I
science.
can see that.
Political science fiction. There you go.
Science fiction.
We just coined a new
Political
term.
science fiction. That's perfect. You need to coin that. I was gonna say that. Hurry up and get like a
There you go.
copyright.
So this
Copyright
new
that.
political science fiction
Yeah.
show called Paradise, starring Sterling K. Brown, Julianne Nicholson, and James Marsden, was released in Hulu near the end of January. And it's a limited series as far as we know, but I think they got greenlit for season 2.
It did.
At this moment. They did. Thanks, Mike. All right, so high-level synopsis of the show. It's set in an underground bunker, as Sandra mentioned, science fiction, in Colorado. 3 years after an event. We're not quite sure. It's a climate change event that follows a United States Secret Service agent, Xavier Collins, played by Sterling K. Brown, who's trying to uncover the truth behind the killing of the president, which is brilliantly played by James Marsden. You might have known him from the X-Men shows in the 2000s, the movies in the early 2000s. Not much beyond that in his career, other than that. So the show kind of really takes off from his murder all the way through the finale as he tries to uncover the mystery. So let's just go over quick the overall theme here of this show. I think I want to kind of hit on some themes right now, starting with the main characters. President Cal Bradford, played by James Marsden again. Sinatra, played by Julianne Nicholson. And Xavier Collins by Sterling K. Brown. So, but you know what? I went ahead of myself. Before we get to the main characters, what was your expectations from just the trailers alone or word of mouth about this show going in? Start with Sandra.
Well, you had me before. I don't like to watch reviews or anything at zero expectations. I follow actors. I like my experience to be truly organic, influenced by as little as possible. So I don't really know much about it. So I didn't know much even about the premise. I just know, Sterling K is in this. I really like him. I'll do it. I'll sign up. So I signed up for it. And at first, I wasn't quite sure what I was watching. And I was like, damn, maybe I missed out not watching a trailer. Because what is this? But the good thing, a show is good when you're intrigued. So I was caught. It sucked. It brought me in and sucked me in immediately. So I could say just my expectations were zero. But for a show, the feeling that I got from it exceeded what I would have expected from a show that I didn't know like this. That I didn't see a lot of hype about either. I don't think I saw a lot of hype about it. So I think it was better than I could have thought it would have been.
Gotcha.
A lot better.
Mike, what about you? Did you know anything about the show going in? Go ahead.
No, I didn't know anything about it. Popped up on my So up here, we don't get Hulu, but it's
Mm-hmm.
merged. All the Hulu shows are merged into our Disney Plus accounts, right? It's like because of the cross border
Mm-hmm.
thing. So it popped up on my Disney, and I was like, "Oh, this! What is this?" I read the synopsis. Didn't really intrigue me at first, like a political show. Like I was like, "Oh, it's just another politics show or something, right?"
The West
But
Wing.
I'll check it out. I check it out, and and to be honest,
Right.
like Sterling K. Brown, like I like him, but you know, he wasn't really anything like I was like excited about. So, um,
Mm.
but he really won me over with this show. So, I'm really impressed with him. But yeah, after that first episode, when the twist came and everything, and then I was like, got me hooked. So I was like, okay, all right, Paradise, I'm
Yes.
in. Yeah.
Mike, quickly, did you ever watch
Yeah.
This Is Us on NBC with Sterling K.
No,
Brown?
that's why too. I wasn't. Yeah. I,
I did. I did. That's why I was looking forward to it because I really like him in This Is Us. I
mm-hmm.
think he's a really good actor. Um, and I think that what I like about him is
Mm,
he knows how to carry a
yeah.
scene. And he's just very interesting. Even when he's not acting, he's got really great facial
Yeah.
expressions. I hate to bring it down to that, but he's just so, his presence on the screen, you love it. And even though sometimes I feel like he's a little dramatic in the sense that
Over the
he's a
top
little, he can
dramatic
get a little
or
emotional. I'm not gonna say over the top, but like he's really
okay?
he's very expressive with his emotions, and that doesn't always work for everybody. And he manages to pull it off, and it doesn't annoy me. Like somebody be like, "Stop crying!
He
What is
cried so
happening
much.
again?"
Yeah, he cried
I
in
didn't
Black
get that from
Panther.
him.
He cried in
Yeah,
This
and this
Is
wasn't
Us. He
a
cried
"This
in
Is
every
Us"
role he's ever
cry
played.
every episode.
Even
Did he cry in Black
Crying
Panther?
every
I don't
but
remember.
yeah, he
This
did.
Is Us made you
He did.
cry.
He cried when
Oh, I cried in
Michael
every
B.
episode.
Jordan went to go see him in the afterlife after he got
Bro,
God, dude. He even
Oh,
cried in the OJ Simpson.
yeah.
No, was it the OJ Simpson little 5 episode limited
oh,
series?
did he play the prosecutor?
Yes, when he realized
Oh,
he was
I
losing the
forgot
case.
about that. He was
I
good
didn't
in
watch
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a
He's
great
a good
crier.
crier. He's a good crier. Some people are good criers. That they're just like they
All
take the
right.
show. So he's a good crier.
So
So I was
perfect
not even
dovetail
annoyed.
into my next topic really is the three main protagonists, whether antagonist, protagonist, whatever. Sterling K. Brown character, Xavier Collins, Sinatra, and the President. So since we're
Mm.
talking about Sterling K. Brown, let's talk about what you thought his performance and role was in this particular series. And I'll start first this time. Um, again, like I've watched just about every one of his performances, and I think he was terrific. I know I didn't answer the question about what I was thinking about going into this show based on word of mouth or the trailers. I kind of had an idea it'd be a political thriller where he would be a main cog of that. I wasn't sure whether I didn't know he'd be a Secret Service agent. I thought maybe he was like a White House chief of
Right.
staff or an aide, something like that.
Mm.
And I thought it was a conspiracy theory that he would have to help unravel as he's part of the administration. So obviously that's not what we saw. I think his performance from the first episode to the finale, well, most of the finale, was terrific. Every person that he played up, it felt like every person that he was in a scene with had to bring their A game. There's a particular this is
Yeah.
obviously we're
Yeah.
going through spoilers.
Good,
There's
great.
a particular scene where he's talking to his dad about their legacy as men in their family, being a
Mm-hmm.
pilot.
Mm-hmm.
His father was in the military. He was the first black person in this particular role. And now here he is trying to trace the steps, but he has a physical impediment with his vision. I thought that actor, who I've never seen before, all of a sudden was phenomenal, played with Sterling K. Brown. Even and Mike knows this. I hate
Right.
child actors for almost 90% of stuff we watch. But the daughter and the son
Me
and
too.
and the
Me
roles
too.
that he did, to me, were believable as children, and they were pretty good.
Yeah. Yep.
James Marsden, real quick, I think he did a pretty good job playing like a sympathetic politician who happens to be a person of privilege, he's in a position of
Yeah.
power, and the narrative kind
Mm-hmm.
of makes you rethink how complicit he is in the situation that they're in. And then
Yeah.
his untimely
Yeah.
passing makes you rethink. All right, so he wasn't a bad guy. Now the character of
Right.
Sinatra, I
Right.
think, was really well played from beginning all the way through her final scenes.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. I've definitely
Yeah.
seen the
Yeah.
actress before and other stuff, and Mike probably knows it better than me. But
Mm-hmm.
this actress was probably other than Sterling K. Brown, I thought had the best performance of the show. So go in reverse order. Mike, what were your
Hmm.
thoughts about the three main leads on the show and their performances?
Yeah, so like I said, I thought Sterling did an awesome job. He kicked up my fan meter a notch with him with this show. James Marsden, I always thought he was okay. He was still okay in this one. His character was great though.
Yeah,
I, yeah,
He's a
yeah, and I
great
felt
character. I
that
actually like
episode
him.
with his backstory about his dad pushing him and saying you're going to be president, and he just wanted to do whatever, and he didn't want to be an oil tycoon and
just want
all
to be
that
able
stuff
to
made
enjoy
you
one day
really feel.
of life.
Yeah, it made you feel for the character. I thought that was a great episode. And so I also thought he did a good job, and it was nice that because he gets murdered in the first like what 5-10 minutes of the show,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then I'm like, okay, that's it for him. No, but he's like through the whole season. You see him in the flashbacks and everything. So I thought that was great. And then the what's her name? Sinatra.
Sinatra, Sinatra. Yeah.
Sinatra is just billionaires going to billionaire, right? So,
We're gonna get to
but
that a little
in
bit
the
later, real
beginning,
quick. Yeah,
so it's kind of like she
Hmm.
became a billionaire, but you could tell she was still kind of like, I want to do good things, and then realize, yeah, because I think she was like,
Yeah, in the very beginning,
right.
she
in her
realized, okay, the
backstory.
Earth is gonna end, and I want to build this city to save humanity, to at least try to save some people, but then coming to realize, you know, I guess the power corrupts, right, or something.
Absolute power corrupts
Yeah,
absolutely.
and I don't, or we built this utopia, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes so it doesn't crumble. So
Gotcha. Sandra, what about you?
So I'll
Mhm.
go the other way. I'll start with Sinatra first. I think Hollywood, at least of late with these series, I think they really want us to hate white women.
Whoa,
They don't give us white women to
whoa.
cheer for. They give us some of the worst, the women that are so unlikable, from Cersei in Game of Thrones to Wendy in Ozarks to Beth in Yellowstone. Like, guys, they're just not likable because even when you should feel sorry for them, there's a level of callousness that they give them. She seemed very callous. So no matter how she got there, even though she became a billionaire, her money didn't matter
Yeah,
where she was. It became less about her being a billionaire and more about her imposing her ideology on everyone. Because she believed white savior syndrome, she was saving everyone. And this was the
mhm.
only way forward. This is the only way forward. And if you got this, so when I saw her, I was just like, I don't even think you believe you. I don't even think you think that you could really save everyone. So
great
what are
point.
you doing? Like, if you have to go through this length to keep the story, what are you doing? So again, they make her very unlikable, which is good because who's that going to root against? The
Good
president turned
point.
out not to be
Good
a
point.
bad guy.
But
So
there's a there's a
so I
conundrum
think
there.
yeah,
Which I kind of agreed with, where
yeah,
we've talked about these villains in the past, like Thanos and
Killmonger.
what's
hmm
yeah, where I think she
yeah,
realized. So when she realized there were survivors out there, and she said, "Well, if
hmm
we bring these four people, when does it end? Then we don't have enough food to feed everybody. We don't have enough water for people to drink."
Very Thanos
right.
like.
So right. So at that point, you kind of have to agree almost like with what she's thinking. Maybe not necessarily what she did after, killing them. Maybe not the right answer, but understanding that, yo, we only have a certain amount of room. We can't let everybody in, right? So
But what was her objective? So if I even try to
mm,
wrap my mind around that. What was your objective when you created it? Was it was it to save as much as you could, or just save the
yeah,
Let me
capacity?
jump on that
Like
one because it's
I
gonna
don't
dovetail
understand.
into the next topic.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Well, I
I'm
mean, I
sorry.
didn't
Go
even
ahead.
talk about my others,
Finish.
but that's fine. We just dragged each other.
So
No,
you
no,
have
no, no,
nothing
no,
to
no.
say
Good, good,
about
good, good.
Xavier or the president?
Well, contrary to you, I actually liked Martin a lot. I
mm,
do like him as an actor. I don't think he's a great actor. I just enjoy him. I feel like his character selections for me, he was always like a good tangential type of. He's a
Yeah,
good
that's it. That's a
supporting
good
actor.
point.
I don't expect him to steal any scenes. He just does his job, whatever that is. If he shows up and he's like the good looking guy that has to do this, he doesn't
Mm.
he can't carry a scene, but he's good enough, good looking on the eyes, interesting enough that you want to hear him, and you want to you want to hear him. So I thought he did his job. I thought the casting was on point because of that, because I like the chemistry between him
I
and
agree.
Mm.
Xavier. I thought it was great. And then of course,
Yeah,
you know
I
how I
agree.
feel about him. I think that um Xavier played his part as, I'm a Secret Service agent, so I believed him as a Secret Service agent, and I like to see whether or not characters are believable, and if there's sort of a character arc. But I felt like he was always sort of a fighter and activist. So I feel like in the back of his mind, while he was here fighting for, I'm here to protect my president, part of him also is very focused on doing the right thing
Mm.
for the people, not just me. So he wasn't just about the president, which is why
Yeah.
he questioned all of that. But so that's my thought on the three of them. But you can go back because I know
No,
that you'll say
I
something
was gonna
about
say something
Sinatra. So
about Sinatra. I think you're spot on with Xavier and Cal Bradford's characters. I think with Sinatra, and again, I'm doing segue to the next topic we're going to talk about, is from the moment that you
hmm
get her backstory about her child being sick and like the mother's duress
hmm
and the urgency for the curing her child, she looked like she was. I mean, you made the joke about that hate white women in Hollywood, but I thought they layered it to the point where you feel her backstory and pain because she was a mother and the child was near death, and her protection of her child was expanded to protection of America, right? Because she listened to the climate guys protest at the college university, and then all of a sudden she enacted this protocol, right? This protocol that, although she thought it was the right thing to do, was very one-sided. She manipulated certain people, and this is why I'm going to get to the next topic: the cabal, as I call it, the oligarchy and the rich
Yeah.
and rich, powerful, influential
Right.
people. It was, Raji,
hmm
what's her name? The actress,
Yep.
Mike. You know what I'm talking about? The Persian woman. She used to be a person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sarah Shadi.
Oh, I know who you talk.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Sinatra was manipulating people to get to her end goal of being in power and protecting people with her power, right? That motherhood thing. Now so the next topic I really want to dig into, and I'll start with you this time, Sandra, is this whole idea of whether it's a climatic event, military event, whatever catastrophe happens to the world, there is going to be a select few that will find ways to survive, and through science and technology and power, create this dystopian society, and and not reveal the truth, whether there's known survivors out there or not, in order to keep them safe. So this kind of parallels real world thinking and real world theories. So the floor is yours. ISO, everybody back up. You got your man. You got the ball. Go on this topic, Sandra, if you could.
So I just want to see if we're questioning the idea of human survival after some sort of apocalyptic event or other, and what do we think about that? I think this one, I don't think it does enough for that idea, because they created a bubble of safety for these people. It's almost like
Mm,
Silo before
right.
Silo went to shit. They created a bubble of safety. So these people aren't fighting for their lives. This is not like The Walking Dead. They really did create, they tried to create a world where people were so happy they would forget how bad it was out there and what they lost. So to me, psychologically, they take away the survival aspect of it, because everything is being given to them, in the sense that they structured this world perfectly for them. So they're not running around, fighting whatever's out there and fighting the elements of whatever this world is now. They were the chosen. They were put in safety, And that's it. And the people who are in the know, the ones that are pulling the strings, the ones that are coordinating, the ones that are keeping it safe, they're the only ones that really know
Mm,
how bad it is or isn't out there. They're the only ones that's leaving the rest of us, the rest of them ignorant. We don't know what's going on, right? But in order for mankind to survive, I think there's a level of fragility that they apply to humanity. Like humans aren't strong enough mentally to deal with the fact that you've lost everything and this is all gone. And if we remind them of that, this new society is going to crumble, which is the whole purpose of the fake sky. So you can remember
definitely.
that they're let's not let them remember for like however many years ago what brought us here to this moment. So I think that yes, that element is there, but in most of the other shows that I see, I think they lost that survival element because everybody else in the town, they are like, what do you call those?
Yeah,
The
NPCs. Yeah,
NPCs.
NPCs.
They're like NPCs. Everybody else is an NPC. Nothing. They're just literally there, walking around, literally there, just existing. So they don't. To me, the show doesn't give them anything. There's like nothing. Um, like The Walking Dead, the zombies had a story, they had characters.
Mhm.
This didn't do that for me. So as far as that, um, I feel like with the season two, they're going to have to do more of exactly what you're asking for to give me that sense that this really is
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic world. You've got to give me that. So the next season, I hope that that's where they go with the
I
show.
follow
That's
you.
what I hope they do with it. I
All
didn't
right,
get
So
enough
follow
of
you,
that.
Mike. Do
Yeah.
you align with what Sandra's saying, or do you have a different set of thoughts about this?
for the most parts, but I was just thinking though, we were talking about, you know, do you do this for survival or why do you only build one? But so here's one thing I had thought about during the show when we were in watching Sinatra's house. The fact that she had a chef and housekeepers and stuff, and did she bring those people and say, "I'll let you survive in this city just to be my servants"? Like, that's not a billionaire thinking,
Right.
"Well, I just want to survive." That's a billionaire thinking, "Well, I'm going to live, but I want to live how I lived
I
before.
want my convenience still.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not cooking my
A
own
thousand
food. What
percent.
are you,
Yeah.
crazy?"
Yeah.
You know? So I,
Yeah. That's what makes it not apocalyptic. Do you know what I mean? That they they didn't try to survive in the world
mhm,
that was left. They brought the old world with them and
right.
tried to recreate that there, so it doesn't feel like
Yeah.
they're in the apocalypse anymore. They're not in that. They're not experiencing it. The apocalyptic world is almost
Yeah.
like another character in a movie. It's like its own thing. Like what does it feel like? What does it smell like? What are these people enduring? We don't get that from here. What we get is, but like you said, she still wanted the status.
Yeah.
She still wants to live that life. And that's all they did. They said shit is fucked up,
Yeah.
but we're still gonna live the way we were living. So
Um,
yeah.
I think I'm kind of halfway between what you're saying and Mike are saying. You're making excellent points. I think there are some innuendos when you watch the show, like the fact that there's no real meat, right?
Hmm.
They're all eating imitation impossible burgers. Um, and they marvel at the fact there's a fully staffed bar.
Mm,
There's certain things that it makes you
Right.
realize this is political science fiction. The science fiction part being that they're not really on a
Right.
reality based Earth. They're in a world where they're
Right.
encompassed by technology and everybody's monitor. They all got the little bands. Um, so I was paying more attention to some of that stuff than others because to me it felt like okay, this is not a typical utopian society. This is like a different post-apocalyptic world. Maybe not like you made an excellent point. Like there's no struggle, there's no duress.
mm,
However, with all the convenience that they had, I felt like they were still kind of trapped. Certain characters felt like they were just going through the motions because they have nothing else they can do that's better, which is not
Yeah.
ideal, right? It's not an ideal
Right.
realistic society. So I kind of saw it a little bit like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Like it's supposed to be like they took, like you said, Sandra, perfectly. They took the old world into this new world with the same hierarchy and system, and obviously the ultra rich were running shit. But to be honest, the title of the president was just a title like the president wasn't really running anything.
Yeah.
figurehead.
And I
Absolutely.
thought, And I thought that was interesting. And I was hoping
Absolutely.
one of you
Absolutely.
guys kind of hit it, but none of us did. To real world theories about our current political climate. Like if this actually were to happen
Right.
on our world, something similar would be in effect. Some protocol
Dude,
none of us are
Yeah.
aware of.
Elon is already in the White House.
I'm just saying, like, there's
So
probably a
Right.
protocol similar to
yeah,
Right.
that
Right.
that involves the super
Right.
affluent, not necessarily military. It's I thought the
Right.
show. By the way, this is an original IP, not based on any books or novels. So this is a true creation, which is fantastic.
Right.
Obviously, it takes. I think, like Sandra, you mentioned Silo. I definitely saw some similarities with that show. I like to think of Lost, one of my top five favorite shows of all time. There was some Lost
Mm-hmm.
Alien
Mm-hmm.
similarities, but I say all that to
Mm-hmm.
say that I thought it was pretty in the story that we talked about with these three main actresses, and the
Mm-hmm.
plot of this being like a post-doom society. I thought that was it was pretty cool for Hulu and Disney Plus to offer that show for us, and I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, I just want to piggyback before you jump too far. Something that you said. I think the very interesting thing about the president really not being a president of anything is the idea that people still need to be governed and ruled, and no matter what society they're in, that the idea of having a leadership and having someone to follow was necessary. And this is where it goes back to the psychological aspect of what they're doing. What they're doing is having people forget. And that takes a lot of work and undoing to get people to forget that everything has gone to shits out there. And they spend a lot of time, a lot of energy trying to make people forget because everyone is assimilated like it was yesterday. Like we don't know where they were. We didn't get that, but they made it feel like everybody's going around their business. Do do do. Let me scan. Let me get some food. Let me say. I didn't see anybody in the corner crying. I didn't see anybody in the corner grieving. These people essentially lost their entire legacy and
mm.
existence out there. Like most of these people came as a family. They didn't bring anybody else with them other than their maybe they came with their core. And they was do do do. Nobody's
um,
distraught. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's another thing that they wanted to do. This is the brainwashing of it
that's actually
all.
a perfect
You know,
segue to the final
so
topic before we get to grades. Was the finale itself? The
mhm.
finale was the first episode that actually
Yeah.
showed us what it took for all the people to get the
Hmm.
25,000 people. What
Yeah.
effort they had to make. The
Yeah.
librarian who had to kill somebody. See, like so for that maybe the 15 minutes or so, we actually saw that the world was going through a major calamity and people were in dire straits to get to this safe haven, right? Including taking someone else's life
Yeah.
for it. And then those who didn't make it had no idea what was happening. I
Yeah.
thought that was the first,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
sadly, the
Yep.
only time that we got to see the collapse before the new world.
Yeah.
So I want to say the finale to me was probably my lowest point of the show because a lot of things. Well,
Ooh, that's the
I'll
opposite
get
for
to you in a
me.
second. Just want to quick points. I didn't like. I mean, the killer being revealed and his
Hmm.
motive was trash to me. Finding out that Colin's wife
Hmm.
was alive, I thought was interesting enough to change maybe the motivation of Xavier after he put that well together plan to take over. Um, the Driscoll character, I called her sundress lady because she was always wearing a sundress when she wasn't in uniform. Shooting Sinatra as opposed to like letting Sterling K have his moment, I thought was whack.
Oh, you mean chicken legs?
Chick-
I call her chicken
God
legs.
damn, Ira, this is such a misogynistic podcast.
He
Yeah,
still doesn't know the truth about her.
yeah,
He
no one
still doesn't know
does
the
other
truth about
than
her.
the woman that she
So
shot, Sinatra.
Hmm.
And then the little bow of wrapping up Xavier's story. He's going to find his wife and getting on a plane, which he said he wasn't going to do after his conversation with his dad. I thought some of that stuff was really cheesy, but it looks like I have some opposition here. So Sandra and Mike, you're after her, but Sandra, tell me why do you think the finale worked for you and what you enjoyed about it?
yeah, I I thought it was. I thought it was one of the realest moments of what I expect when shit hits the fan. Because the moment that he told the truth on camera
Oh
and
yeah,
the anger
that
by
was a
the
good scene.
staff people that were there, that was like, so to me, that unfolding for them to even when they were trying to leave and get in an episode in the elevator, they're trying to tell people to back off. Legitimately, people are now realizing that they were getting left and these guys knew all along. So that rage and that anger, I loved it. That was
Mm.
what I would have wanted to see. Tell me how people acted when they found out. And the people were mad. They didn't hold any punches in that scene. They were trying to get to them. They were taking chances. And even those that weren't getting on the helicopter, didn't realize they were getting on, they're protecting the
Oh
president.
yeah,
You're
shot
not
Yeah.
getting on a
shot the guy
helicopter.
with the football.
It's over for you.
Yeah.
You're being left. So that's one of the reasons I think that. So for the first half, I was very excited as this shit started going crazy. Um, I do agree with you. The reasoning. Let me take that back. I don't necessarily agree with you. I get the reason that the guy came to kill the president. I get it. I thought it was actually very clever. It was a little bit of a sleeper. I didn't expect him to be. I didn't expect it. Like who he it was nobody, but it made sense because what he's not Luigi,
We
but
both did it at the same time.
here you go killing all these people. You killed all these people and you let them expose them to all this stuff. Why did you do that? And I think and then they made him think he was crazy for like 10 years. Everybody treated him like he was a crazy person. He's on there trying to warn people. They're doing something. So as I didn't, I cared for his reason, but I think I don't think they did that well, but I cared for that part of the story because there were some aspects of it that was cheesy. I thought that they were gonna have a moment and they were gonna ruin it with a kissing scene with the guy.
Oh
I was
yeah,
like, don't do that shit. What are we
I
doing
had the
here?
same thing too.
Not that
Yeah.
I didn't want to see it. That's no place. I was like, what are we doing? Can we just
Mm.
let people be friends without making
Gotta
out?
go
Guys can
woke.
just be
Gotta
like
go
a
woke.
homeboy. And nah, it wasn't. They didn't. But
I'm
it's not
joking,
even
man.
about woke. I think sometimes they unnecessarily
Yeah.
put sex scenes that don't move the plot along. That wouldn't have moved it. So I don't need that. We don't need a love scene. We don't need that to be his motivation. But it was enough to
Mhm.
see that he had formed a friendship with that guy and others, and he felt lied to, cheated. So I cared that that was his reason. So I believed his reason. They could have done it better, but I did believe his
See,
reason. So that didn't bother me as much. And the killing with the girl coming
that
in,
was my
Chicken legs?
problem with
Yeah.
the show, and
I don't
Mike,
know.
you could take it from here. Is that I think everything that happened in the flashback was brilliantly played, well executed, well acted. But
Yes,
what was going on in the present time to me
yes,
was such a downer. It took me like, oh,
yes.
yeah. So
It
Mike,
was a little sloppy. A little
yeah,
sloppy. He's in the
I actually
library.
I
It's a
actually
little
agree with
sloppy.
everything there.
He has him in
Yeah,
the
I agree with everything. The
huh?
flashback part of it was
oh,
excellent to me. So the
1,000%.
yeah, with them trying to get away to the mountain and then people getting killed and stuff,
Hmm.
and the one dude sneaking on not because he wanted to be in paradise, he wanted to kill the president, right, for
revenge, yeah,
what he did, right. So
Right.
yeah.
I thought all that was done right, and James, I agree with you that the present day stuff was kind of meh, but it worked, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
mhm.
It worked. I think they got to build on that a little bit more. But there was this mean we don't have any more flashbacks. Season two. Now that we know, they'll
Oh
still do
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
This is us. Did
I'm
it?
sure they
They'll
will.
figure it out. Some. I feel like and that's another reason I was so happy. I was like, oh, another show does the
Mm,
flashbacks well. Not
yeah,
every show
right.
does the flashbacks well. This Is Us is one of the best at the flashbacks. This is amazing. And this
We
show
all
did
have
it
to
well.
we all have to
It
tip our
worked.
hats to the
Maybe they'll
show
go back
Lost.
further.
That was the OG. The OG
Is that where
Lost
it comes
was the
from?
OG of flashbacks.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that kind of,
yeah.
I agree with a lot of the points you made, Sandra. I just feel like the show probably could have found a better way
Hmm.
of
Yeah.
entertaining us with the present day narratives, right?
Hmm.
All right. So I want to.
Right.
It's supposed to be a quick peek. We failed there. Let's get to grade.
I knew it wasn't going to be. That's why I was like
We've done
15
better.
minutes, James.
So let's go to
Go off. I mean,
grades. I think I'm going to start first, and something I didn't talk about that really helped my grade was the tie-in to certain music choices and selections. Or the industry calls it needle drops. Needle drops.
yes.
I think the
We didn't talk
show
about that. Yeah, yeah.
masterfully
Yes, yes, yes.
inserted some needle drops with
Yes.
Although that one song did kind of get played out a little, the Paradise song kind of
well
got
obvious reasons.
after a
Paradise.
while. It was like, yeah,
The
but
titular name of the show is Paradise. But there are some
I would.
episodes where the songs
Paradise.
play. I think Last of Us did that pretty well too, where the song
Mm,
played, it married into the theme of that episode, right?
yeah.
So that alone got me
Yeah.
out of the B plus, and I think I'm landing at an A minus for this show.
Mm,
So let's go the other direction, Mike.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm. That's pretty high,
it is. So
huh?
Mike,
Pretty high.
what you got?
yeah, for me, I love the show. Surprise hit of the year for me so far.
Yeah.
Looking forward to next season. I'm going A minus as well.
Excellent. All right, take us home, Sandra. What you got?
So I like the show. I like the acting. But I'm going to
The
B
music
plus.
wasn't enough to elevate you to the.
No, my A's and my A minuses, they're the heavy hitters, and I reserve the right season two to
Mm,
give it a new grade. I think that in season one they did everything. It was exciting and all of that, but I think some of the other elements, like you mentioned, I feel like so some of the other actors were just okay. You know what I mean? Like versus like when you're watching like a really what's a really good A minus like I'm just thinking like a Mad Men type of show where all of the characters are like
Well done.
bringing something to the table when they're all in the scene. So for me, like the other actress, like the one he was
Yeah, I
sleeping
got
with,
played
I
out
didn't buy
quickly.
that.
Yeah,
The his side piece, get me there. So like wherever his main wife was, what happened to her?
yeah.
So I don't know. They I don't know. I felt like so because of that, I feel like the acting of the leads and the good supporting ones, the main ones, were really good. I don't think the other ones were bad. They just didn't
Gotcha.
add any flavor for me um, to bring that. I think the storyline and its originality, though, like the originality of the show, I would give an A. It's very. I like it. I like the idea. I like how I couldn't predict what was going to happen. That's that. I like a show where I can't predict really. So I did like that. But like I said, there's definitely some holes. Like I said, there were some things that I did agree with you that was a little sloppy. Like I, some things were a little bit on the nose. Like you kill the best friend after he
By
finally
the way,
exposes that he's
phenomenal
really not a
episode.
traitor when we
That Billy
thought he was
Pace
the
was
one.
probably my favorite episode. The actor, the one where his best friend was killed.
Which one? Where they kill him? Yes, very good. He was very good. But then you kill him. Like it was just too like. So
Yeah.
soon as we find out who
In a
he is, you
terrible
kill
way
him. What are
too.
we doing? So there was yeah, and the so yeah, there was a couple of those moments in there that made me just go. And to me, my A minuses don't have a lot of those. My A minuses just can't be an A yet because they're not Game of Thrones. That's just kind of like how I think of it. So it's not bad, but it's a B plus for
Strong
me.
B plus.
It's like a
Strong B
House of
plus. You know
Dragons
what?
kind of B plus. Yeah, like to me, a House of Dragons would get like House of Dragons would get like a B plus, not necessarily an A minus. We might have to go somewhere else with that, I'm sure, but that's what I'm saying. Like some of the side characters were like,
Yeah,
come on now.
I'm with you
So
into
that's
that.
my B
Although
plus.
I'm still giving it an A minus because of the needle. I give
No,
him
no, I'm with it.
the
We'll see
needle
what happens
drops to
season
me
two.
really worked. It worked. It worked for me.
But I will say what concerns me is that they're now greenlit for season two. Does that mean they never intended on doing a season
No,
two?
I did read
Because
that they
shows
were
that
supposed to
didn't
be a
have those
limited,
intentions
like
don't do so
Shogun,
well.
not greenlit for season two because it's so many
Yeah,
awards.
so
Money.
shows that do that, they don't do a good job on like on seasons. Like the OA that I watched was one of the best shows I've
I'm
seen on the
not.
Netflix. I don't know if you watched the OA. I really, oh, it's
Yeah,
old,
I think my kids were
older.
watching it.
It was a very good season one. It was very good, and then we why are we doing a season two? How did we get here? Like it didn't make sense for us to even have a season two because and it didn't work. So I'm hoping, even though they didn't have an idea that they'd have a season two,
Yeah.
that they
yeah,
don't fuck it up
I trust Dan
because they didn't have
Fogelman
a
though.
plan for it.
I think he'll bring it in. Yeah.
Do you?
How many seasons of This Is Us did he
I don't
do?
know.
Like 7, right?
Six. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So
But that's different. That's different. You could that show could have went on and on because of the way that the storyline was. They sped people up to get old to end it. That the stories was great. Like they could have went
All
on.
right.
It
Speaking of
didn't
Yeah,
end because
but
it had to
we have
end.
to end soon.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's getting pretty long.
We like you're
I
gonna
know,
crop
I
it
know, I
anyway. You're gonna
know.
cut it anyway. So,
Mike, any last thoughts? Because I think I cut you off when you're about to
yeah.
speak.
no, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Any upcoming announcements we want to say? We got this pod to watch. Leave a comment, thumbs up.
Yeah, of course, as usual. Leave a comment. We're all over the internet at Heroes Peak,
Absolutely.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, you name it, we're probably there.
Blues.
Uh, don't forget to
Instagram.
like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of Paradise. Did you hate it? Did you love it? Tell us why.
All right,
Yeah.
everyone.
All right.
Night.
Bye.
Hey, Indigo made the beat.